Good morning, hello, we're back again. This is Fringe Festival Support. Special shout out to the guy from Gosford Poultry who was stopped at the traffic lights down the road, absolutely belting out Elton John's Your Song. That was a good start to the morning. This is FFS live stream. Blah, blah. Hello there, how you doing? We're going to crack straight on with the show today. We've got the information up here for you so that you can get in touch with us and send us questions for any guests. You can go to our website. We've got all of our old episodes on there from last year and this. There's probably over about 50 on there now. And you can go to our GoFundMe page and donate. That would be great. And you could just send us an email and let us know how your Fringe is going. We are Fringe Festival Support. We're a community spirit project that tries to bring performers and workers at the Fringe together and talk about the Fringe experience and try and avoid plugging their shows, but hey, we'll get one of those in as well. So we'll crack straight on. Hello, I've got two guests with me.
Hello.
Adam Rowe, how you doing?
I am hungover,
Yeah.
but that's okay, isn't it? Because
Absolutely.
It's the Fringe.
Yeah, no one at home can tell. They're not watching. And Dave Chawner.
Hello.
How you doing?
Yeah, good.
So you're a busy man. You've got 4 shows up here.
Yeah. I mean, everyone's got like loads of shows, and it's all right. I genuinely think like now that I've got a rhythm, it's okay, and you can just like crack on with it. But yeah, it's nice. To be honest, my sort of thing is like I kind of want to come up here and want to do as many shows as possible. Like I can sleep when we get back.
Yeah, September.
That's all right. You know
September's
what I mean?
asleep.
It's all right.
That was my attitude every other Fringe apart from this one. And then, because normally I go like, right, I'll do as many spots as I can so that I can exit flyer and fill my show. And I normally also take like a package show, like Big Value or AAA or something. I take something so that like every day someone see me do in a decent room. And this year I just went, no. And I will normally do any gig for any money up here. Whereas like back home, you're a bit picky. Like once you're a pro comic, you're not doing a gig for less than a certain amount of money. Up here, people are like normally like, it's 12 quid for 20 minutes, and normally you're like, well, that's 4 beers, yeah. I'll do that for 4 beers. And this year, I've just turned all of them down just to do my show. And I would heartily recommend
Really? Has it worked out?
Yeah, just chill, man, and just do your thing. Yeah.
And yet you're doing this for absolutely free, and it's 10:30 in the morning.
Yeah, because I was told to be here.
I didn't realise we could do that. Did I just put a tweet out and say, you've got to be here?
Well, my publicist, who is absolutely lovely, is also the most terrifying woman in England.
Fair warning, she's coming on the show next week. So,
yes,
we'll get her take on you as well.
You can absolutely tell her that I've told her that I love her and she scares the living life out of me.
I think a good PR does, right?
Yes, absolutely. So when she tells you to be somewhere, you're there, whether you are hungover and it's 10 a.m. or not.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds like a good hitman as well, that like she could tell you to be somewhere and you just do it.
Yeah.
Do you mean like a good hitman, like an assassin?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
You do that as well?
If it came out tomorrow that she has killed people, I don't think as many people would be surprised as with most murderers.
And you'd be well happy because you have the inside scoop because she's on this, so you'd be like, brilliant.
I'll get some hitmen on.
She's fantastic and she genuinely works herself into the ground for this month for all of her clients. And there's a lot of PRs up here who are happy to just take publicising money off comics and then just be like, oh no, sorry, we only got you one reviewer, but she doesn't do that. She is the absolute best at it, and part of the reason for that is she makes us all do everything she can get, and she's like, look, this guy's doing everything, and that's what makes reviewers in, and she knows exactly what she's doing, and that's why she's so insistent and terrifying.
Have you done this without PR before? You've done
Yes.
a Fringe, so you're doing it all yourself?
I did my first, so this is my 4th year in a row. My first year, I had PR, but it wasn't to the extent of what Mel does. Let's say that. And then the second year, I had 0 PR, and I got 1 review, and that was it. And no one's seen that show. And that was my best show.
Right.
Like my second year was my absolute, was definitely my best show. But that's the show that Mel and my now agent both seen, because a couple of other people were like, oh, I've been seeing Adam Rowe. Do you know Adam Rowe? And they'd never heard of me really, and they came and seen it and really liked it. So that show did lead to PR representation and representation in general, but no one other than those two from the industry really seen it, and it was definitely my best show. And then last year I got a fairly well received show with some nice reviews across the board, and last year's show was really good and I was proud of it, but the year before was definitely the best one I've done so far. But you know, still come and see this show.
Come and see this.
This year's my
average
third
show.
best.
Dave, your shows, rank them 1 to 4.
One of them's shit, but I'm not going to say which one. Terrible. It's a crock of shit. But I, like, to be honest, I just kind of feel bad for the audience. But, like, yeah, I'm doing the show that I did last year, which is about mental health, which is actually something that I'm, like, really passionate about, so I enjoy doing that one. And then I'm comparing, like, Pick the Fringe, so the people that do the free festival, and then doing a kids show. I honestly, genuinely think sometimes the kids show's been the best show, because if you can get a room of 150 kids to be, like, on board, brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And tenner a ticket, so...
Well, yeah, it's not a tenner a ticket. I wish it was, but, you know, you can't sort of resort to physical violence if they don't chuck in the bucket. But
no.
Okay.
I had there's a comedy promoter based in Yorkshire, and occasionally he will mess up and he will double book his gigs, and you don't find out until you text him the day before the gig and go like, can I have tomorrow's details? And he's like, you're not in. And I'm like, well, look 3 messages up. I absolutely am. And that happened to me with the last gig I booked in for him, and he's like, oh, I'm really sorry I've double booked it, I'll sort something out. And I went, okay, cool. And he come back to me about 2 hours later and was like, I've got a kids show earlier that day, do you want to do that? And I was like, you've seen what I do. Do you really think that gig is going to continue to exist if you let me do it? I can't tone down this shit. Yeah, I envy the comics who can do kids shows, because A, it can be quite lucrative, and B, it's a skill set that I don't have. But I absolutely cannot do them.
I think it's just that I've got no dignity to lose. I think that's
it. Yeah, that was what I was trying to say, but in a nice way.
Mainly
Dave's happy to go there. I'll admit that.
I'll throw myself on the bombs that nobody wants. That's really what's going on. But yeah, I mean, to be honest, I really do enjoy that. And I did a kid show a couple of years ago, like an actual play show, and it was like, it was absolutely dire. It was a crock of shit. But I've got so much respect for that. There's so many good, like the Balloon Man, like he does like all the balloon attic stuff, and there's an amazing guy called Donal Vaughan who does science magics for kids, which is brilliant. Another guy called Stuart Reed who does kids like books and stuff, and he's brilliant, and they're genuinely so engaging. But yeah, I really wanted to see Funs and Games when it was up here, but I never got.
I seen that show 7 times.
Did you? Wow.
Yeah, so do you know the show he's talking about? Funs and
No,
Games?
I don't.
So there's a comic called Phil Ellis who decided to do a kids show that was unsuitable for children. But it wasn't listed as that on the poster or anything. It was listed as a kids show, but there were so many jokes in it that, the way he'd written it was so perfect. They would go over the kids' heads, but the adults were still uncomfortable. So it was like, life lesson number 7: don't get a dog when you're 8 because it'll die during your A-levels. Like, life lesson number 9: don't get too attached to Nana. Like, just things. Yeah, it was brilliant, and it happened to be on. That was the year I did Big Value, which is the year we met actually, when I was doing.
Yeah.
And every day when Big Value finished, he'd be starting, and he was literally just up the road, and I loved it so much, and it literally was a different show every day. That occasionally I would walk past on my way to get some lunch, and I would just pop in and be like, yeah, I'm going to watch this again.
They would say that's the big secret to doing kids shows: make jokes that go way over the kids' heads and make the adults super uncomfortable.
Yeah,
that's definitely the way to do it.
Yeah, it was superb. And it did very well. It won the Spirits of the Fringe Awards.
Yeah.
And it was picked up for TV, and it didn't quite translate onto TV. And I think it's because you really had to buy into the fact that this guy was a loser, and it was the end of his career, and like he was in this terrible shit place in the mash house, and like people were like, yeah, this is awful. He clearly is on the brink of a mental breakdown, and that's why this is all funny.
Wait, it was in the mash house as well?
Yeah.
So it was in like a bar-themed, like an alcohol-fueled room?
Yeah, it was in the cask room as well, so there's literally casks of alcohol everywhere. And that all added to it, and when they put it on TV, the chaos of it didn't quite translate, because everyone was like, well, you're clearly not on the down, well, you've got your own TV show, and it just didn't, I don't think it went past the pilot.
Hey kids, stop crying. Take a balloon. Here's a lollipop.
Well, so the show was called Funds and Games, and there was a game in the show where the kid always won, and he would give them a T-shirt, and it said, "I beat Funds and Games," with F, A, G, and Z capitalised.
Yeah.
So there was children walking around Edinburgh with a T-shirt on saying, "I beat fags."
Yeah, again, way over their heads and just making things awkward. Fantastic. So we talk a lot about mental health on the show. So we've touched on it a little bit. How do you cope? Your show is about mental health.
Yeah, I think it's difficult, but just because my show is about mental health, I kind of feel like I've created a rod for my own back, because like I don't know anything more than like anyone else. I've read into it, but I think that like I personally try and like rest as much as possible, and like I try and sort of like keep on top of it and try and do stuff, like to be honest, do stuff non-fringe related.
Yeah.
Like I try and get out, like I went to the Museum of Scotland yesterday, go down to Holyrood and do like just get a little bit of perspective, because I don't know about you, but I think you can get so sucked into being like self-obsessed about like stars or constantly talking about your show or constantly talking about numbers that you're not actually a real person anymore. And like
I do agree with that, in that this is such a repetitive festival that I've stopped doing it this year. Like literally every person you talk to, you will often have the same conversation you had 100 yards ago with someone else, with like, "Hey man, how's the show going? Numbers good? Oh, it's been a quiet year, hasn't it? But yeah, some people are doing like, oh, you're doing great, man. Yeah, you always do well. You're great. Yeah, great. Beer at some point." And I've stopped having that conversation with people where I go, if they go, "Hey, how's the show going, man?" I go, "Don't do that. Neither of us want to have that chat." And then people...
Don't do that! Get out! Fuck off and think about what you've done. Like,
yeah,
brilliant.
but people are quite happy. Comics are quite happy if you just like, come on, let's be honest. We know each other well enough that we don't have to do that. Yeah. Let's just talk about football or something.
You just go to PR mode.
See, that's why I wish I liked football. See, that's the problem. That like, although I will say this, there's a bar 32 below over there, and they've got a PlayStation, and you can play FIFA.
I've brought mine up with me.
Really?
I bring my PlayStation up.
Oh, mate, I was thinking about that. Have you had time to play it?
A couple of times, yeah, because so my show's at 7:30, and I'm not doing 4 because I'm not mental this year.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to mental shame on a mental health podcast.
It's okay, so long as you're self-labeling, that's fine.
Yeah, so I brought the PlayStation up, and a couple of times now, because I don't actually enjoy getting hammered. I used to treat Edinburgh like a stag do in Fallaraki, where I would just come up and be like, every day, beer. But now what I'm doing is most nights I'm just going, I can't be bothered. I want to stay away from the Loft Bar. I don't want to go near that. So it's been quite nice that I can just go, I think I'm going to get a pizza and play FIFA until my eyes bleed. I've done that a couple of nights, yeah.
That's great.
Just for balance, we've got an Xbox in the house.
Really?
Yeah.
Xbox.
I'd just like to balance it up. Although if Sony and Microsoft want to go exclusive with sponsorship, then I'm more than open to that offer.
Do you know what's really funny? See this hat, right? My mate has got a clothing company, and he goes, "Can I give you a hat to wear like on stage and stuff, and you can take the free photos in it?" And I was like, "I'd love you to do that." So this is his, and I told my agent that, and he went, "Mate, that's a sponsorship deal. You don't want to do that. Like you might." That might scupper any future deals with like big brands. And I went, well, I'll tell you what, if Nike call, then let me know.
I'm more than willing to switch over. If they want me,
that's great.
If EA Sports want me on the front of FIFA, I will do that gig.
I quite like that you've gone with Nike, because I'd really like something like Victoria's Secret to sponsor you, and you're just doing it like stuck in suspenders.
That's quite poignant, because I know we're not supposed to plug our shows. The last 25 minutes of my show this year is all about Victoria's Secret, literally.
Brilliant.
Really?
Yeah.
You're fishing for that one, aren't you? You're fishing for the sponsorship deal there.
Absolutely.
You want to be in the catalogue?
And I absolutely am. It is a routine that defends Victoria's Secret as well. So yeah, it would. If you now came and seen the show, you would think, oh, he really is paying for that.
I would quite like that though, if you were a Victoria's Secret model, but like you with like a pizza, like just like a little bit on your belly, and like you're playing FIFA.
Just reading the catalogue.
Just in the middle of the pages.
I mean, now we're just taking lines right out of my show.
Oh, really?
Well, we're not into cheap sponsorship secrets here. We don't go for any of that. That's ridiculous.
I mean, that shows the difference with you. He's going for Victoria's Secret. You're just going for tea bags. I mean, fucking
Yorkshire
hell.
Tea did provide us with tea bags because we wanted to have as part of the show, like we wanted to give guests tea and stuff.
Yeah.
And every single one of them has turned up and said, "Have you got coffee?" No,
Really?
No, because Nescafe didn't get back to me.
Brilliant.
Actually, Mellow Birds, if you're watching, I'm on board. I'll be in.
The tea was nice. Yeah, it was good.
You want another? We've got tea bags.
I'll have another. Yeah.
We
Do
can
we
do
have
that.
more sugar?
We can do that. More sugar.
4 again. Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of milk. Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll put Tate and Lyle on the list of people we need to get in touch with. I got some biscuits in. Yeah, while we're discussing mental health, I just want to plug again. There's a couple of different booklets available. They're usually in Fringe Central. There's a couple of booklets.
Oh, that one's really good.
Yeah.
Which one?
So this one, by.
Can I have a look at that big one? The big one?
You can have.
I really like this one. I've got to admit, I think loads more people are talking about mental health, and this is the thing of actually mental health isn't about mental illness. You know what I mean?
No.
In the same way that you don't have to want to be Mr. Muscle 2000 in order to go to the gym. You can just go to the gym in order to just look after yourself. And I think it's the same with mental health and stuff like that. And there's some really good things in this one. They've got mental health for flyers as well, which is something that is not talked about because they just stand there in the piss rain getting rejected.
I am very conscious of the toll that the Fringe takes on my flyers. So I have quite a large flyering team every year because I always take a room that is bigger than my profile on purpose because I think, well, if we have enough flyers, we can fill it. And I am constantly out there being like, do you want a drink? Do you want a coffee? Do you want a tea? It's raining. Do you want to take 5 minutes off, dry off before, all that sort of stuff. And last year, I went out and went to a girl, do you want a coffee or something? Because what's her name? She went, can I have a gin and tonic? And I went, yeah. Sure. Yeah, as long as it's going to keep you flying, yeah, you can have whatever you like.
I thought you were going to say, you went outside and went, do you want a coffee? And she went, no, I just want a hug. Like that, you're like, fuck, she's bad, man.
Gin and tonic's fine. It's after 7 a.m. That's all right.
Yeah. It was 2 in the afternoon.
It's like Fringe is like a stag do, or an airport. It's there's no 12 o'clock canon. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. It's just round the clock. If you want to do it, you do it.
Yeah.
Whatever works for you. I mean, I think that's the key with these booklets. It's there's no one way that you can kind of go, I'll read this and then my mental health will be fine.
Something that's really interesting that I found this year is a couple of my mates are dry now, they don't drink at all. And there is an interesting thing that I try not to read too much into beer because I tried to do the Fringe dry once and I couldn't fucking do it. I genuinely could not do it. And I really respect people that can do it, but I just used to equate booze to be fun. So it'd be like if you go out with someone, do you want to go out for a drink? If they say, do you want to go out for a pint? It'd be brilliant. If they go do you want to go out for a coffee? I don't know why, I was just no. And I kind of really respect those people that can do that can just not drink and are no, I'll go out, but I'm not drinking. And I do find that a little bit
what I'm doing now is not getting hammered.
Yeah.
That's I did just...
Aren't you hungover right now?
Yeah, but if I have 4 pints, I get hungover.
Yeah.
And yesterday I did drink a lot of the day, but I wasn't drunk at the end of it. We were in the loft bar until it shut at 5:10 or whatever it was. And I did leave being well, I've drank quite a bit today, but I feel fine.
Yeah.
I think, I used to enjoy but the hangover, regret and anxiety, talking on the mental health, my anxiety goes absolutely off the scale if I'm hungover.
Really?
Yeah. It's really...
What sort of anxiety?
Sort of thinking I'm a bad person.
Oh,
and being what did I do? Especially if I can't remember everything, I've done something. And also, I get quite bad health anxiety, chest pain, and then I'm I'm having a heart attack. I'm absolutely having a heart attack. And I have to... When that first happened, it was a month after it started happening about a month after my dad had a heart attack. And I was going to the hospital via ambulance literally 3 or 4 times a week.
Wow.
I would get really bad, and it is crippling pain. So I'd be it's worth pissing the ambulance service off to not be dead. And in the end, I just felt embarrassed because the hospital were they have to hear me with chest pain. They're look, because I was how old was I? 20, One, they were like, look mate, you're 21 years of age and yes you are overweight but you're not going to have a heart attack. However, you might have a heart attack, so if you do get chest pain you should absolutely come back, but you're not going to have it. And what they were basically going is stop coming to the fucking hospital, you're not having a heart attack. But you know, if you get chest pain we've got to look at it, so do come back if you... So I have to have a conversation with myself in my head now. If I get chest pain I have to go, you're probably not having a heart attack. Like, you would absolutely know. It wouldn't be, am I having a heart attack? It would be, you're having a heart attack. Don't do anything about this. And I have that conversation and then I calm down.
Wow.
Yeah. There you go.
I do think that, like, I'm very jealous of that, like, conversation with yourself thing. Like, I don't know, this is a bit of a weird thing to say, but I don't, like, have a really, like, conscious narrative voice. Like, in my head, I don't think things like, are you having a heart attack? I, like, think really emotionally and stuff, which is why, like, when I'm up here, I always like try and read something or something like that, just to like, you know, sort of try and build that voice in my head. Because like, if I don't, I just end up thinking really emotionally and then just like being really weird, which is not ideal. But
yeah, I had a terrible fringe up here where I was like super nervous. The show was like late at night. It was like 10:40, and you're just waking up at like 8 in the morning and going, oh my god, I've got to sit around and wait for like 14 hours. And then
I have this chat with my dad all the time where he's like, you get up at 1, that's lazy. I'm like, I don't start work until 9.
Yeah.
If anything, I'm getting 8 hours before work.
Yeah.
You don't get up at midnight before you go.
that's great.
Yeah, we're on an opposite body clock completely to the most of the world. And a lot of people do not understand it. Especially when you get, like when you're driving home from Nottingham and the M6 is being an absolute fog. And you get in at like 3, 4 a.m. and then you can't quite sleep for an hour, so you're up till 5, and then you don't get up till 1, and people are like, oh, sleeping in, lazy. Like, no, I've had less sleep than you have. Yeah. It's just at a different time of the day.
I worked 16 hours yesterday.
Yeah.
What did you do? Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, we mentioned this on the show quite a lot about like mental health isn't like, it's not a thing that's specific to the fringe, but it's like there's so much more pressure up here. Like, you have to have tricks to deal with it. Because a lot of people think, well, you go to Edinburgh, you drink on all the time, you work an hour a day, you know, doing your show, and they don't. It's the preparation and the, you know, it is a hard thing. It's loads of fun, you know, a lot of the time.
I think that's why, like, phone calls to people outside of the fringe. So, like, I'll ring my girlfriend, I'll ring my parents and my sister, and I think routine's really good because, like, I kind of feel that whenever I know where I stand with like timings, and I kind of feel like I know where I stand with everything else a little bit more. And like something that's really weird as well that I always do is I always try and like keep the room that I'm in fairly tidy, because again, at least that's some sort of like order within all of the sort of generic chaos, and I actually find that really, really useful. And also try and treat like 2 nights off as like a sort of weekend. So yeah, like last night I just went and played FIFA, and that was like great, and then just went home and just went to bed, and like try and do that, because yeah, I think you can constantly feel like you're missing out.
Yeah.
You're at the world's biggest festival, and there's always more that you could be doing.
It's like, I think 3,800 shows I read the other day. Like, and you think, oh, well, I'm here, I've got to see all of them. Every single one.
I don't really, and this is partly to do with mental health, I normally don't really say anything until the final week.
Right.
And I certainly don't say anything until I'm happy with my show. Because then I just end up going like, well, that's fantastic, and mine isn't, and why is mine not, and theirs is great, and how can I be given 4 stars when that is at least 2 stars better than what I'm doing, and that the limit is fat. But this year I was sort of like, my show's fine now. So I've seen a couple of things early on, but yet normally I do leave it till the final week.
So no plugs is the rule, but you can come on and say, my show is fine. It's
yeah,
fine.
Yeah, it's absolutely fine.
Is that on the flyer? It's fine.
I might get stickers and put it on now. It's fine, Adam Rowe.
It's fine, it'll do. I mean, to be honest, I kind of aspire to it's fine at this point in time. I mean, it's like, it's shit. There are seats.
Oh, is this the crock of shit one?
Oh, the crock of shit one, mate. Like, Jesus.
It's somewhere in here. Somewhere in the programme. There's a real bad show, and it's got your name and your face on it.
Most of the shows I do are shit anyway, so you know what I mean.
So what do you do? Do you get out and see much of Edinburgh while you're here?
I always tell myself I'm going to. I always tell myself, day off, Arthur's seat. And then I go, day off, time to day drink. So I try and see a few shows that I know I won't get to see elsewhere. So shows that aren't necessarily going to do a run to Soho Theatre or tour, I try and see a few of them. Having said that, I've seen 2 so far this year, which will both absolutely end up at the Soho Theatre because they do, and it just so happens they're the ones I've seen so far. And they were both fantastic, to be fair. Yeah, so I don't see much of Edinburgh, but I try and see as many comedy shows as I can because I am a comedy nerd as well as a comedian. I am quite obsessed with the game.
Ah.
Yes.
Are you staying on your own? You staying with friends?
So the comics.
People? Okay.
Last year I stayed. Last year my accommodation was ballsed up by someone I used to live with up here, which meant I didn't have accommodation until very late on. And the Pleasance, which I don't do my show at, were very kind. Like, we've got room in one of our student flats, but it meant I stayed with 3 people I don't know, and that really did have a toll. Take a toll on last year's Fringe because I'm used to staying with friends. Like now, even if I get in really late, as I did last night, 5 a.m, I get in and my housemate's sort of getting in, or he's still awake. So we can be like, hey man, how's it going? We have a little drunken chat or a late tired chat, and then we get up and we have a cup of tea and we chat and we have a little bitch and whatever. And having a little whinge to someone and having them laugh at it, and they can then go, this happened to me yesterday and I was really annoyed, and you laugh at them. That's valuable for mental health up here, is having someone to bounce your annoyances off.
Yeah, because chances are they've got the same ones.
Yeah, a lot of the time, yeah.
But like everything, I think it's a lot of balance as well. Because like I find that like I can just be like really moany, really like whingy, and then I'm like, that's not the person I want to be. So it is like that balance. I completely agree with that.
Yeah, well, that's sort of what I was trying to say, in that when you don't know people that well, if you've got whingers, they're like, oh, that's a whingy guy. If it's your mate, he's just like, yeah. You're laughing about it. They know you're not actually like, well, everything's going terribly and I'm really just like, this fucking thing happened yesterday. And there's almost a humour to it. But that only comes out when it's a close mate, and I have got that this year, so yeah.
That's great.
It's valuable.
Yeah, I think who you live with makes a massive difference because you do see them so much.
Yeah.
And like having your own little space is great.
It's that combination, isn't it? You've got some support if you want it, but at the same time you can just retreat into like a dark room.
And it is like, again, it is. I hate to be wanking, but it is that kind of balance because like at the start of the Fringe, I definitely was doing too much non-fringy stuff, like the Mary Close tours, going down to Portobello, going to the castle and all this sort of stuff. And then I was like, well, there's actually no point in me being at the Fringe. I might just go to Edinburgh. You know what I mean? It's like that. I'm
in
just
June.
Could
You're in June?
No, it's a pop-up city.
I do love that when performers say like, oh yeah, you're doing Edinburgh this year, you're going to Edinburgh. And it's like, it is there outside of the Fringe. Like, it's not like a massive tent.
Edinburgh Festival has become so big that when people say, oh, you're going to Edinburgh, they actually mean the festival, not the city now.
Yeah.
So that means the festival is more important than the capital of Scotland.
We've said before, it's important to be respectful of like the local thing, because like it is a completely different place, like outside of the festival. And they've got a lot of problems here, I think, with like short-term lets, and not just the Fringe, but obviously that's the biggest one. But then, you know, lots of people, lots of tourists. I think they were saying, I think it's 1 in 4 flats in the city is now Airbnb or like is like short-term let. So the prices are just going up and up. And,
I do feel like, I mean, the Fringe will absolutely always still be here, certainly for a long time. I do think within 2 or 3 years, the amount of comedians that come up as a career maker is going to vastly shrink. And it's going to largely be down to the fact that you can boost your career more with a few viral clips than spending 12 grand coming here.
Yeah.
And the expense.
And there's other options now, like the Vault's getting bigger, and you got the Camden Fringe that's going on at the same time now to try and pick up those people that can't be here.
There's comics who, a friend of mine from Liverpool, like one of my best friends is Paul Smith, who is a viral sensation comedian who started putting clips out of him comparing, just chatting to the audience, which is something that no one's done before, certainly en masse. They haven't put. He's got over 100 hours of original content on YouTube.
Wowzers.
And they're trying to talk to the Guinness World Records to see if they'll give him it, because there's no other comedian with anywhere near that much. I think the nearest is like 20 hours or something like that.
No, because some comics are quite funny about, like, I don't want my material to be like on YouTube because then no one will come and see my show, and I can't make money out of YouTube, but you can if there's like 6 million people watching 100.
Oh, well, it's not even just that, like, it's all crowd work, so it's all different.
Right.
So it's him going, what do you do? I work at Jaguar Land Rover building cars. Here's something about that. What do you do? I squeeze oranges for a living. Here's something about that. So
some very weird jobs in this crowd.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's not burning material.
Yeah.
He's just playing with the audience, and people absolutely love it. And then people go and see him live, and they're like, he's going to do loads of crowd work, and he does a bit of it. But then he also does a brilliant 1 hour show, and he's actually a flawless comic as well. And he's gone from being a compere of literally the resident compere of a small comedy club, to last year he sold out the arena in Liverpool.
Nice.
From online comparing clips. And Mo Gilligan's a guy from London who went from doing little videos on his phone, just messing around. He's now got his own show on Channel 4 and sold out, I think, 20 nights at the Leicester Square Theatre.
Yeah, that's how Limmy started, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's sort of just building that viral...
Yeah, and these are comics who just don't have to come anywhere near this place.
Yeah, it doesn't cost you like 10 grand to put a clip on YouTube.
No, it doesn't.
No.
It's a better way to spend the month.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that thing about having people outside of the fringe and sort of like reaching out through the bubble and just like making sure everything's okay. I mean, I look a lot of, I used to look at a lot of news because that was like, that's my way of keeping in touch with what's going on in the real world, and now that scares the hell out of me. So I'm actually just like, I want to build a lead balloon around this bubble.
Just watch Peppa Pig, you'll be fine. Because I think that there's so much stuff of like people, I hate to say this, and it sounds really bitter, but people like obsess about stars and stuff, but you give it 4 months, nobody gives a shit, really.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, like you can use that next year, and that's not going anywhere, and that's still laudable, that's still incredible, that's still amazing, but like, it's not.
I made a quick little joke the other day. I was very lucky, and I did say that if anyone does watch this from this publication, I was joking.
Great.
My agent went, you got 4 stars in 3 weeks, and I went, yeah, it's called that because that's how long that matters for.
That's great. That's brilliant.
Yeah, outside the festival, I got 4 stars in Fuck the Pig magazine, and then people are like, oh, cool, great.
One of my
we don't
favourite
care.
magazines.
Can you just do 20 minutes of funny? Now we don't care about that.
Yeah.
And everyone has got 4 and 5 on every, like there won't be a flyer here that doesn't have stars on, like of 4 and 5 caliber. I mean, that one hasn't, that's a shame. But most of them do.
That's a great show, though.
Yeah, he has got a 4-star review already.
Is it on the other side?
No, it won't be.
No, I think this is the first year.
I mean, I think we're really labouring over the one exception to this rule that you're putting out.
It's essentially like, it's a common denominator. Everyone's got 4 and 5 stars, so it almost makes no sense to put stars on now, but then if you didn't, you wouldn't be competing with the people who do.
And you can see that some people have put, like, people are quite selective, so they'll have some quotes and some stars, but not both.
Yeah. The best show on the Fringe. Where's the stars from that? 4 stars with no quote. That was someone who didn't really enjoy it, but felt like the audience enjoyed it too much to not give you 4.
Yeah.
I think the best trick on that front was the film Legend, or Legends,
with the
Tom
2
Hardy
in the middle
thing, and it was just all stars and then publication names, and where the 2 people were in the middle, there was 2 stars, and in The Guardian, and it was like,
and it looked like they were covering.
Yeah.
2, like one.
But it was a 2-star review, and they had the
but they had it on the movie poster.
A 2-star review on, making it look like it was 5 stars.
Next year.
Yeah.
So I've got fucking loads of
everyone will be
2-star
doing
reviews.
You can have all your reviews right down the middle of the screen with 2 images of you either side.
My face is going to be that thick. And I'll be like, I'm sorry, get it up. I think that's one of the things, again, with mental health that is really odd, is that, like, you are not competing up here.
No.
That's what kind of annoys me of, like, and it's hard to believe, and like I think to a certain degree, yeah, obviously there's only a certain amount of comedy clubs, there's only a certain amount of spots, but I kind of really respect and like, I'm really like drawn to the people that have like kind of created their own little career paths and kind of like focus on them, because I think you can get really, I think that's what I kind of mean about the bitterness and stuff. There is a little bit of fun of going, did that show get 4 stars? But if you're doing that too much, then you just become this kind of like caustic whirlwind.
As with all of comedy, it's a rule of 3. You can bitch about 3 shows a year, and any more than
Anyone that's harsh.
That's great. I like that. Yeah,
The important thing about reviews is that, so long as you're happy with your show, like you could sell no tickets, you could get terrible reviews, the whole thing, and you could get one TV producer in that loves what you're doing and gives you like a massive leg up. It does happen.
Yeah, it is a festival where from day to day your show goes from being great to being not so great, and the audience does affect it. Like the other day, I've had late shows to Friday and Saturdays, and on Saturday, my early show was far and away, by a considerable distance, the best one I've had, and the late show was far and away the worst one I've had, and it happened on the same day, and I was like, right, that was a nice back down to earth show. Going from, that is finished, oh, what a show, to, oh, this needs work, what a show. In the space of a few hours, yeah.
So what are you looking forward to? What's the big thing that you're looking forward to? And don't say finishing.
No, actually not. Like, my girlfriend's coming up, really excited. We're looking after a dog.
Nice.
Which I'm very excited about. I've recently got well into dogs.
Do you mean looking after someone's, or do you mean...
Yeah, that's not what I meant. That's fucking hell. That's a scoop, innit? No, I just really like dogs. I think they're fun. They're better than humans, aren't they?
Yeah.
So we're gonna look after like little dog, chill out.
I'll show you my new dog in a minute.
No, you got a new dog?
An 8-month-old Hungarian street rescue, yeah. And she's wonderful. She's great.
My favourite dog in Edinburgh is outside the Lighthouse Bookshop.
Yeah, love it. Oh, he's so sweet.
Yeah,
Every year they're having a great time. Guys, we're gonna have to go. We've got Fringe to do. We've got festival things to do. Just a quick plug for Fringe Central, who have generously given us this room to film this show. They have an events program. They have loads of events to try and make your Fringe a better place. It's available in Fringe Central. You can get hold of that, and they've got loads of things from mental health to how to PR your show, what to do in Edinburgh, all sorts of things. So check that out. We'll be back again with more people telling us great things. Go out there, stay hydrated, and have a lovely time.